Gigantopithecus versus Orangutan. Who would have won a fight? It's the battle that could never happen, but that doesn't mean we won't try to stage this fight anyway. Yes, we are taking the extant species Orangutan, and we are pitting him against the extinct species Gigantopithecus. But we are searching Earth's entire landscape just to make sure there are no Gigantopithecus left, because who knows, sometimes these species appear to be extinct, but there are still a few left. If we find a Gigantopithecus and put him in the ring against an orangutan, who do you think would win? Orangutan. Of the two contestants in this upcoming battle that we are proposing, we know for a fact that one of them is still alive today. So let's start with him, the orangutan. Orangutans are apes just like gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, and humans, but they diverged genetically from other hominids roughly between 19 and 15 million years ago and became part of the subfamily Ponginae. Today, orangutans are the only surviving species of the subfamily Ponginae. There used to be several apes in this subfamily millions of years ago, but only the orangutan figured out how to continue to exist for the last 15 million years or so. There are three types of orangutans: the Sumatran orangutan, the Tapanuli orangutan, and the Bornean orangutan. However, all of them are critically endangered. The Eurasian apes of the subfamily Ponginae were spread throughout many Eurasian areas, but orangutans today only inhabit the Southeast Asian islands of Borneo and Sumatra. Orangutans strictly live in the rainforests of these islands, and for good reason. They love the trees. Orangutans are the most arboreal of all the great apes, meaning they move through the trees with the most ease. This isn't just a special skill. Orangutans live most of their lives right in the trees of these rainforests. Unlike other apes, they don't really split time between the trees and the ground. They spend upwards of 95% of their lives in the trees. And due to their size, they are the largest arboreal animals on the planet. Orangutans are quite big. They're the second largest apes after gorillas. They are usually dimorphic, so the males are much bigger than the females. Adult males will typically weigh around 165 pounds and will stand at 4 feet 2 inches tall. Their arms are proportionally long and their legs are short. A male orangutan will easily have an arm span from the tip of one finger on one hand to the tip of one finger on the other hand of 7 feet. Most times their arm span is much more than 7 feet. To put this into perspective, take NBA star LeBron James. He stands at 6 feet and 9 inches, and his arm span is 7 feet. He is more than 2.5 feet taller than an orangutan, yet the orangutan has a longer arm span. As a boxer, that long reach would really benefit the orangutan, not to mention the great strength that they possess. Orangutans are typically 5 to 7 times stronger than the average human. They can lift up to 500 pounds, so for our 165-pound orangutan, that's 3 times his weight. They also have a grip strength of 600 pounds, meaning you don't want any part of your body getting into the palm of an angry orangutan. Now, the grip strength isn't for squeezing opponents into oblivion. It is because orangutans need to be able to grip the many trees and branches that they navigate through and make their nests in. In fact, they're extremely handy animals. They use a variety of tools that they acquire in the rainforests to fashion these nests of theirs. Their strength is only matched by their intelligence, as they are among the most intelligent of all primates. Not just apes, primates. Now, the orangutan may be swift in the trees, but he isn't quite as fast on the ground. Those short legs really only carry them at top speeds of about 2 to 5 miles per hour. No wonder why they spend 95% of their time in the trees. But again, the orangutan has to be doing something right if he and all his brethren have lived for over 15 million years. But what about some of his not-so-distant cousins? Gigantopithecus. Right in the same family tree as orangutans is Gigantopithecus. That's right, orangutans are the only living members of the subfamily Ponginae, but Gigantopithecus is one of the extinct members of the same subfamily. In fact, when Gigantopithecus was alive, he was the largest member of Ponginae. Just how big was he, you ask? Well, they didn't name him Gigantopithecus for no good reason. Gigantopithecus was monstrous, bigger than the biggest gorillas today. For reference, the largest gorillas today usually stand at 6 feet 5 inches and weigh 450 pounds. 450 pounds was what scientists believe was Gigantopithecus's minimum weight. His maximum weight was believed to be around 660 pounds. They also believe he stood at least 9 feet tall, more likely closer to 10 feet tall on average, with the ability to reach a maximum height of 12 feet in height. That's a big ape right there. Gigantopithecus was in the Ponginae subfamily and had many similarities, especially to the orangutans. However, when reconstructing the body of Gigantopithecus, with what scientists know about him today, they suspect he stood more like a gorilla. He would have had the larger, elongated arms of many apes, but closer to the proportions of a gorilla rather than an orangutan. Then again, the arm span from one arm to the other had to be incredibly long. Scientists have measured one specimen of a humerus, the upper arm bone of a Gigantopithecus, and determined that that bone alone was 2 feet and 1 inch long. That's 20 to 25% longer than that of a gorilla's humerus. So if everything else is proportionate, then we'd expect the arm span to be 20 to 25% longer than a gorilla's. If a gorilla's arm span is roughly 8 feet, then that would mean Gigantopithecus had an arm span of roughly 9.5 feet to 10 feet long. How lucky we are to not have to have walked the earth with a 10 to 12 foot long ape with a 10-foot arm span, clocking in at 650 pounds. Oh, but our ancestors may not have been so lucky. It is estimated that humans have been around since about 300,000 years ago, and Gigantopithecus roamed southern China from about 2 million years ago to about 300,000 to 200,000 years ago. There is a definite possibility of overlap there, but more importantly, there was absolutely overlap between the orangutan and Gigantopithecus. Gigantopithecus is estimated to have had incredible strength. Orangutans can lift 3 times their weight and are 5 to 7 times as strong as humans. Gorillas can lift over 1,700 pounds, which is more than 4 times their body weight, and they are about 10 times stronger than humans. If Gigantopithecus fits anywhere between the orangutan and the gorilla, as is estimated, then this behemoth could probably lift somewhere between 1,800 and 2,500 pounds. Not to mention his overall strength must have been off the charts. It's no wonder when you look at Gigantopithecus, you see why many people believe they are probably the true identity of creatures like Bigfoot, or even more likely, the Tibetan Yeti. Bigfoots, Yetis, Sasquatches, whatever you call them, many believe them to be myths, monsters invented by people. But some people truly believe they exist. So many species of apes have existed and gone extinct or declined in numbers. Why is it so hard to believe that there exists a species of ape that we haven't identified? What if Bigfoots and Yetis are some species of ape closely related to others that have since gone extinct? What if their numbers have dwindled and so there are very few left? What if we do know the species of the Yeti? What if it is because the Yeti is actually Gigantopithecus and they are so critically endangered and so hidden in the depths of the forests or at the highest mountain peaks that we just don't have conclusive evidence? In any event, we are ready to get this battle on between the orangutan and Gigantopithecus. Either we search southern China and other parts of Southeast Asia in hopes we do come across Gigantopithecus, perhaps find the few remaining apes, or we try a different method. Gigantopithecus and orangutans existed at the same time. All we have to do is take our time machine back about 1 million years, and there both of the apes exist, ready for the fight. Ape versus ape. So we know that orangutans used to live in southern China, and that was exactly where Gigantopithecus lived. We know they both existed 1 million years ago, so we not only know the where, we also know the when. Now, it is entirely possible these battles even took place if both apes found themselves in the same area, perhaps one horning in on the other's territory. Now, if we look at the size comparison, it is not even close. The orangutan is dwarfed by Gigantopithecus, and even though he is strong for his size and would take down your average human with ease, he's about 6 to 8 feet shorter than Gigantopithecus. He also weighs about 500 pounds less. That is, if it is one of the biggest Gigantopithecus. We must not discount the strength of the orangutan. Astoundingly, if we were talking about a smaller Gigantopithecus, one in the range of 450 to 500 pounds, well, That is actually a weight that the orangutans can lift. Don't put it past the orangutan to sneak up, lift Gigantopithecus, and heave him back to the ground. Then again, that would only hurt so much. And we know Gigantopithecus had to be far stronger. If the two got in a grappling fight, the orangutan would be completely outmatched. This would look like a battle between a father and his 8-year-old son. Granted, the father would hold back. Gigantopithecus would not. He could lift the orangutan with ease, throw him with even more ease. It is said a punch from a gorilla can shatter a human skull. What do you think a punch from a larger ape could do? And with that arm span, he could grab onto the orangutan from several feet away. Looking at the situation, our poor orangutan doesn't have much of an advantage. Even in the speed category, we'd imagine Gigantopithecus probably wasn't too fast, being as big as he was. Then again, gorillas can hit top speeds of 25 miles per hour in short bursts, and since Gigantopithecus is proportioned more like a gorilla, he may have some surprising speed. The orangutan would never get pulled over for speeding, maxing out at 5 miles per hour. So, what could he do? He could use his one possible advantage, the trees. Gigantopithecus doesn't look like he would have been too arboreal, even if he was a decent climber. It would have to be quite the sturdy tree to support him. But orangutans are literally built for climbing with those long, strong arms. This is his one shot. And 1 million years ago, before human civilization wiped out so many trees, trees were even more abundant all around. Climb, little orangutan. It's your one shot. Get high into the trees, swing around from branch to branch, move as agile as you do, and get lost in the cover of the trees. The orangutan could possibly then use the art of stealth and surprise to attack Gigantopithecus from above. Who knows? He is a big user of tools. Maybe he could find some tools to use as weapons. Rocks, branches, sharp sticks. The orangutan is a crafty animal today. If he wanted to live in a battle with Gigantopithecus 1 million years ago, then he'd have to have been a crafty animal back then too. When we look at the situation as a whole, the orangutan only has a shot if he sticks to the trees and engages in surprise warfare, attacking from above. And even then, it's a bit of a long shot. Gigantopithecus has the upper hand, he has the larger hand, he has the longer arm. We'd give him upwards of a 90% chance of winning this battle. Then again, why did Gigantopithecus not make it to our current time? And why did the orangutan? Could it be these battles happened often and went in the less expected direction? Perhaps the orangutan is partially to blame for Gigantopithecus' lack of existence today. Then again, are we sure the Yeti that many people speak of in tall tales isn't a tall tale at all? Could it not be a recounting of an ape they really saw? We may never know. We may not want to know. That is a gigantic ape, and no other primate has good odds against him. That includes us.